Hey there, Screaming Ghostface fans! How's it going? I'm your host, Douglas here at Drownway Productions, bringing you another Screaming Ghostface Collector's video. And today's video is going to be a doozy because we have several new additions to the collection, and several of those additions are very special pieces. And basically what I have here is an overseas fan's entire collection. This actually is the remainder of the collection of someone who contacted me previously, thought they were going to part with their collection then, instead decided to sell me and gift me a couple of very cool pieces, and then they finally decided to go ahead and part with the rest of it. So what we have here was not sold to me, but was traded to me. And that was the deal initially. And with the first half of our trade, I received the Scream 4 production prototype robe, and he gifted me that Scream 4 production scarecrow mask. This is the remainder of his collection, and there's some really awesome pieces in here, guys. So let's go ahead and dive in. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm saving the best for last. He did send along a note, so let's go ahead and take a look at that. It says, "Dear Douglas, I hope you'll enjoy these items for many years to come. I know that you'll take good care of them and that they couldn't find a better home than with you. Thank you for being the kind and generous chap that you are, and thank you for letting me get to know you outside the Ghostface and Scream universe. Best wishes." And then it's dated. Very awesome, and when you guys see what's in here, I think you will agree. And I guess we'll start with one of the least exciting pieces in this package, but still a very nice piece to have. This style is not in the movie for long, but it's still nice to have one of the styles represented in the film. I do already have one of these, but yet again, always nice to have one. And I actually think this one is a bit better condition than the one I already had. Next up, we have another piece that is not incredibly rare, but they're still pretty nice masks, and I actually don't have one of these versions here in the collection. We have an original 2010, January-March 2010, zombie. However, this is a soft mold version. I do have one from the same time period, at least I believe it's same manufacturing dates, but it is the very stiff hard mold zombie. These are a much lighter in color mask as well, and there's actually quite a bit of variation during some of the earlier zombie types. And I don't have many of those, so maybe at some point in the future I'll try to knock out some of those different variants, but just to have another one of these, especially pretty much brand new, nice original tag, always a plus. Next up, we have a bit of an odd one. I do not own one of these, and I actually never have owned one of these. Here we have an original mask and cape TD stamp mask. But you may notice it's missing the cape. Of course, very common for these to have had the capes chopped off. A lot of the people that got those back in the day, whether it was an EU, one of these, regardless, they chopped the cape off. It is kind of unfortunate, but still really cool to have one in this style represented, even if it is somewhat damaged. And oddly enough, this thing smells very strongly of vanilla. The rest of these, I have not tried to smell them, but just in holding it this close to my face, I can smell it very strong still. Oh, that's that classic nostalgic scent for sure. Okay, I guess we'll take a look at the next two at the same time. Since they're almost the same thing, here we have two black and red TM style Ghostface masks. Now, of course, I feel the need to say TM because it's before it was registered. This is still trademarked, and these would be pre-2010 era EU masks. However, looking at them, they do look a good bit different. Like the mouth on this one was deformed a bit, but overall, they're both really nice masks. And I don't know how well you can see this due to the lighting, but this mask is a much more opaque white and a much thicker mask compared to this one, which is oddly much more transparent than this one. Another difference between the two is that if you flip them around, you'll notice you've got one with the tag on the outside of the shroud and one with the tag on the inside of the shroud. Other than that, both masks are in pretty good condition. The tags are a bit messed up. Both of them are folded in slightly different ways, but both are very nice masks with very different shapes. And of course, I love the fact that I now have a representation of a tag on the inside of the shroud and tag on the outside of the shroud, because we talked about that in the Scream 3 movie mask guide. The next item is not a mask, but it's something I've been after for quite a while. Here we have an original, sealed, NECA zombie Ghostface figure from the Scream 4 era. Now, for those of you watching, those of you who are in the know on all the different Ghostface merchandise, you'll know that there were a few different versions of this figure put out. There's the classic mask with the standard black and white mask, and there's the zombie mask. But they also made variants with a full robe that's made out of plastic and rubber, and they also made versions like this one that have a fabric skirt for some reason. It's really, really odd looking. I don't know why they did that, but both versions got that treatment. And I don't have like all of them packaged, but I now have at least one of the classic mask and one of the zombie packaged in this style packaging. And then the one weird one with the full robe in that scan box package. So it's an official figure just repackaged. It's a very weird situation, but the zombie has been a very elusive one, and it's a pretty good look. In my opinion, between the two of them, I actually prefer the zombie mask to the classic mask for this figure. Oh yeah, almost forgot. Quick Easter egg for you if you happen to own one of these. If you look on the bottom, you'll see a special thank you to Fun World staff and Nate Reagan. Of course, that's our good buddy over at Reagan Productions. And now we get to the very, very special pieces. All of the pieces I'm about to show you were gifted to this collector by Fun World. Now personally, I've never been gifted anything by Fun World. Maybe it'll happen one day. I have no clue. I hope so. But as of yet, I've never been gifted anything by Fun World, and this collector was given some very, very incredible pieces back in the day, so I'm really happy to show you guys these pieces, and let's go ahead and dive in. To start things off, we have an ultra white that is signed by RJ from Fun World. It is just a regular ultra white signed on the forehead. I don't think this one has any significance to being on set anywhere or even being a production prototype. I'm not sure, but I believe this was just a gift mask that was signed by RJ and sent to this collector. Wow, even my camera could detect the amount of heat incoming, so it decided to go ahead and overheat. But let's go ahead and try this again. So this next piece is something that you guys have been telling me I've been missing from the collection for quite a while. And to be honest, I've only owned one of these before, and it has been quite a while. And oddly enough, they have become pretty sought after masks now. Here we have an original tagged Mummy Ghostface. Check that beauty out. This now completes my official set of the monster Ghostface masks, at least the full Scream 4 set, and I believe everything up to this point, this completes them all. But yeah, of course, during the Scream 4 era, they did release the Mummy Ghostface, the Zombie Ghostface, the Scarecrow Ghostface, and of course the normal Ghostface, alongside the Collector's Edition Ghostface as well. And all those versions, except for Collector's Edition because it was technically the production style, were on set for Scream 4, except for the Mummy. They never even considered sending this guy to set. At least as far as I know. I mean, they could have, but I've never heard of any of them being made for production or sent to set or anything like that. So I'm guessing they were never even really considered. And yeah, like I said, oddly enough, these are now kind of hard to come across, but several years ago, no one really wanted these. And this one does look a little bit different from most of the ones that I've seen out there. I don't know if this was one of the first ones produced or if it has anything special to it, but just the way the distressing is applied and the way that it's put on there kind of looks like it was squirted on instead of being brushed on. Which with a lot of the ones I've seen, it seems like the distressing was more worked into the fabric. So I wonder if this was an earlier copy or if it is anything special. Well, I know it's something special in at least one way, and that is, on the inside here, it is signed by RJ, and it says, "Introduced in the Face of Fear." So I'm not sure if this has any kind of special history to it at all, outside of the fact that I guess the Mummy Ghostface mask was originally introduced in RJ's book, The Face of Fear. But still, completing my full set, and also it's another mask signed by RJ from Fun World. And I've saved the best for last with the next two pieces. These are definitely the stars of the show, and kind of the pieces I was most excited for. I don't know, I was really, really excited about the zombie figure and the mummy mask, but these are both very, very special, of course. Both of these also came directly from Fun World, and they did originally come with paperwork. It has been confirmed that these did come from Fun World. However, the person that owned them could not find the paperwork, and I mean, that's fine by me. I'm hoping that I can get Fun World maybe to reissue that paperwork. It would be really awesome to be able to have it next to these because, like I said, I've never received any gifts or anything like that from Fun World. So to have something like that represented here in the collection would be really, really awesome. Regardless, the pieces are what they are. One of them is a very odd one. The other one is very noticeable if you know your types. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look. Both of the masks that I'm about to show you are supposed to be production masks that were on set for Scream 4. These are not modified masks, these are not screen use masks, these are simply masks that were on set for Scream 4. These were then signed and returned to Funworld, where Funworld distributed them out to some fans and some collectors. Some of you may have seen that before. They've done charity auctions, they've done giveaways to other fans. Sometimes it was answering some questions on RJ's Twitter. Sometimes it was just from being like a huge Scream and Ghostface fan. A few fans did end up with these back in the day, but there were not a ton of them. This person got 2 of these masks, and the first one is definitely the weirdest one between the two, so let's go ahead and take a look. So these are supposed to both be from the set of Scream 4, and they're signed by none other than Wes Craven himself. Of course, anything signed by Wes is very special, very important, but to have something that was directly from set signed by Wes is very, very special. Now, why this piece in particular is so odd to me is the quality of the mask itself. You may be able to tell by looking at it that it has a very, very shiny, glossy finish, much like the Scream 4 production run masks. This is how they're supposed to look. So as far as that is concerned, it looks proper, and it's signed by Wes. But when we look at the tag, this is where it gets weird. The tag is a TM style tag. Yet again, predates. This would have been a pre-2010 tag. But the mask that's on it is very clearly the same style as a Scream 4 production run mask. So I'm unsure as to whether this was a mask that was one of the higher quality pieces that was tagged and then sent to set, or what. I know that it supposedly came out of the same box as the reshoot mask that I have that came from Nate Reagan. This is one of the masks out of that box that did make it back to Funworld. And I know that those masks were supposed to be a higher quality mask. And this seems to be of the same standard, a nice high quality, it's painted very well, it's a very, very nice mask. But like I said, the tag on it doesn't make a lot of sense. But it does look to be originally tagged, it's not re-tagged, but at the same time they sent all sorts of different stuff to set during that time period. There were full costumes with the half mask, but I don't know, this one is an odd one. I'm waiting to hear more confirmation, but from the story that was told when it was originally posted, and from what he told me, this was one of the masks that was from set. As far as that mask is concerned, whether we can prove the set history or not, it is still a nice EU that is signed by Wes Craven in a brilliant, brilliant gold pen. But this next one is for certain a Scream 4 production mask. This is one I'm really excited to have, guys, because having one of these masks in general is very, very rare because so few of them exist. But to have one originally tagged is even harder to come across. This is undoubtedly one of the rarest masks in my collection. As far as how many of them were produced, it is for certain one of the rarest masks, and maybe the rarest? I don't think I have any straight up just one-of-a-kind masks. I mean, I've had masks in the past, like the Polyshroud Pink Gen 2 and stuff like that, where at one point they were the only one known to exist in the collector's world. More of those have surfaced since. But of course, those were mass manufactured. These styles, like the HHNs, we know were very limited production run masks. This Scream 4 production run mask in particular, of course, features the production style shroud, which we all know now as the collector's edition style hood, the dwarf hood, whatever you would like to call it. And the tag on it is a 2010 tag. So this is the proper era, but of course, that's what makes this so special. For those of you watching, as you know, the collector's edition style EU masks never were released on this tag. They had the Scream 4 collector's edition style tags. So seeing one of these masks with this style shroud and this tag is a good way to tell that it's one of the production masks. Now, of course, there are many other qualities to these production masks outside of just having one of these tags. Often these are found without the tag, but still just really, really cool to have a mask that's from set and signed by Wes. I know it's not one that was used in the films, but still it's just so cool. Even cooler that it's on something that was specifically made for production. So it's kind of like an appearance, a mass manufactured mask, but it's really not. It's a much higher quality piece, and it really shows. This thing is beautiful. The only downside to it is, of course, the fact that it is signed in a regular Sharpie, so it kind of bled out a little bit. But to be honest, compared to some other signed masks that I've seen and other signed masks that I've owned, the Sharpie really didn't bleed out that bad. And, also notably, this mask is not covered in blue dots. Of course, the production run, as well as some of the collector's edition style masks, were known to have that blue dot problem that could spread to other masks. And this one apparently was infested with it at one point, but they all disappeared, except for one slight little blue dot right there. That's the only one I could notice on the entire mask. And oddly enough, Nate Reagan owns one of these as well, that he said became entirely covered with blue dots and then also disappeared and went back to normal. And this is obviously, at this point, one of the most important masks here in my collection. I really, really love the mask from Scream 4 that I got from Nate Reagan previously, but I don't know, like, that one in shape still wins, but this one, because it's signed by Wes, knowing that Wes held this and signed it makes it even more special. And really, I'm just happy to have all of them at this point. I do have to unfortunately quarantine this mask due to the fact that it could still cause blue dots on other masks, and I have had it sealed away separately from the rest of these, and he's also had it separate from them all these years. I actually did get a pretty nice display case for this piece, so I cannot wait to have this piece on display properly by itself. Well guys, there you have it. That was a pretty awesome unboxing. We had some really, really great pieces in here. A mummy mask, finally completing that set. The zombie figure, kind of completing that set, but still just super stoked to finally have one of those. Some other masks that I did already have, some that I didn't have specific versions like that. And of course, 2 masks from production, from the set of Scream 4, signed by Wes Craven himself. It doesn't get much better than that. I have to give a massive thank you to my friend from Norway who was willing to offer me basically, and I mean pretty much outside of like his first mask he ever got as a kid, his entire Scream and Ghostface collection. It started with the production robe and the mask there with the Scream 4 production scarecrow, and now all the rest of these. I'm really, really grateful that you were willing to offer me these, and I hope you enjoy how I put them on display. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Hope you enjoyed today's video, and see you next time.